Covers 1,000 acres. Deer have been an important part of Hatfield Forest in Essex for that time too. But if they're left unchecked, they can wreck the ancient habitat.
Tonight, wardens are carrying out a census to keep track of just how many deer there are in the forest. They're using specialist techniques and equipment and are being watched by Gareth George, who's there now. Gareth, oh, in the dark.
Well, as you say, Susie, we're on the edge of Hatfield Forest, but because it is so dark, you wouldn't even know. You can probably barely even see that tree behind me. But take a look at this, because these pictures are being taken by a thermal imaging camera. It probably looks a little bit like Crime Watch now, and cameras like this come in very, very useful when you're trying to count deer in the dark.
Hatfield Forest. Kings and queens have dined on the forest's fallow deer since the 12th century. And to find out how many deer live here now, the wardens are counting them. But nervous creatures are hard to spot.
We've got short days, we've got bad weather, poor light, leaf fall, wind, but it's still good fun.
But they must be in there somewhere because they nibble the ivy titbits tied to poles.
What we've got here is fallow poo, and we can tell it's fallow because it's larger than monkjack. It's got striations on it, so you've got some striping marks there. Picking it up, you can see the end of it has got a little point there, so that's a classic fallow poo.
We didn't spot a deer, but to prove there are deer here, here's a picture they took earlier.
And Linda, from the film you just saw, she's trying to spot some more deer with the thermal camera. We're joined now by Henry Bexley, a National Trust head warden. We took some pictures with that camera, the digital camera, earlier. Henry, just describe what the pictures show.
Well, what we were seeing there were a small herd of fallow deer. There were roughly 4 does with 4 of this year's fawns, which are fully weaned now, and they'll be grouping together, running through the wooded area, coming out into the open this time in the evening to feed them on the grass out there and the acorns under the oak trees.
And it is amazing what you can see in the dark with that camera.
It really does give you that advantage, yeah. I mean, at night time, in any open area, the deer will be coming out to feed. So whereas in the daytime when they're tucked up in the scrub.
Well, it looks like we've lost our link to Hatfield Forest,
yes.
But I wasn't sure whether Gareth was saying that he looked like a criminal in that shot. He looked like Crime Watch.
Yes, perhaps we could bring that up with him a bit later on.
And we saw the little, we think it's a little deer, but Julie was concerned it looked like a piglet. Yes. We're not really made for that job, are we?
No, I don't think I'm the next David Bellamy.
Handling the droppings isn't really our scene either.
No, although quite small and not too. Anyway, moving on, we've got some very pretty pictures of the traditional German Christmas market that has set up today in the marketplace in Northampton. Now, it's all looking rather lovely there this evening, but I do hope that they've tied down their decorations. They're supposed to be there until the 9th of December, but we've got some pretty gusty and squally weather on the way tonight, so I hope those decorations don't get blown away. That weather is courtesy of this cold front. Now, with it, a band of rain. Now, some of that rain is on the heavy side, and as I said, associated with this front and the rain are some very squally winds. So this little lot is heading in our direction. So we start off tonight dry and largely cloudy, with perhaps 1 or 2 showers around, but after midnight, that's when we're expecting the main band of rain to move through. Pulses of heavy rain running up it. Now, it will rattle through quite quickly, but with the rain come those very squally winds. Now, inland, we're looking at gusts of 40 to 50 miles per hour, around the coast 50 to 60 miles an hour. So these are your mean speeds tonight, but of course the gusts will be a lot stronger. Temperatures a little bit academic, but between about 7 and 9 degrees Celsius, so on the mild side. So here's the pressure chart for tomorrow. That cold front is right over the continent by 9 o'clock in the morning, if all goes to plan. Behind it, much brighter conditions following in, and hopefully less windy ones for a time. So the last of the rain probably clearing the east coast by about 6 in the morning, and then a good deal of sunshine expected and 1 or 2 very blustery showers, but again they'll rattle through on the southwesterly winds. Now I mentioned that those winds would ease down for a time tomorrow morning, but I think by the middle of the day we're back to a fresh southwesterly, but certainly not the strength we're expecting overnight. Temperatures 11 or 12 degrees Celsius, so a little bit lower than recent days, but still above the average 8.5 degrees Celsius. But of course, in these blustery winds, it will feel colder. So that's tomorrow. A scattering of showers, but a lot of fine, dry, bright weather, but it will be quite blustery. And I think it's a very similar day on Thursday. Any showers should be fairly isolated, but generally it should be fine and dry with some lengthy spells of sunshine, but the winds only easing down a touch. Then Friday, well, Friday's looking a dry day for everybody as it stands, but still on the windy side. And then it's during Friday night. That's when we're expecting the next area of rain to push in, and some of that could be on the heavy side. And that rain is likely to stay with us through a good part of Saturday too. And even if we don't have the rain, it is likely to be quite cloudy. And then Sunday, well, perhaps an odd isolated shower, but generally dry, but still an awful lot of cloud, and still that blustery southwesterly wind, moderate to fresh in strength. Now these are your daytime highs, so they stay on the mild side, but feeling noticeably colder because it won't be as mild as it has been. And temperatures, well, coming down, so by Sunday down to about 4 Celsius, but that's still just above average. The overnight value at the moment should be about 3.5 degrees Celsius. Susie.
Julie, thank you very much. And I've just heard that they are going to be monitoring deer all evening, all night in Hatfield Forest, so good luck to them. That's all from us.
Bye for now.
Good night.